Guys, welcome to this new series of ETF Tracker type videos. In it, we're going to do some deep dives into various articles that we see around the web relating to ETFs and trying to put a bit of a data lens on that. So, enjoy. This is the first for me doing this kind of stuff with a bit more of a detailed deep dive, and yeah, hopefully we'll get to do more of these. So I'm just going to switch screen here. Hopefully I've done this right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you'll see I'm using OBS Studio because it's what all the gamers use. It's free software. So any other kind of streamers out there willing to give me tips, please do. We're looking at this article here from the Financial Times. So it says ETF industry on track for record year as investor inflows reach $659 billion. Now, for the record here, it's quite a large market. So they're talking about what the inflows have been in the first 6 months of 2021, and that's globally. Now, in Australia, we saw a large amount. We've got 113.5 billion, according to the data that I've got on ETF Tracker that comes from Chi-X and the ASX. And up to June, we have 113.5 billion. We have about 1 billion that comes in each month. So we're a small part. This is like 659 for just the first 6 months of 2021. And that's compared with 767 all of last year. So that's according to data from ETFGR, which has lots of information about global ETFs. So we can see a little bit more information there. It's eclipsed last year's intake in terms of global equity-based ETFs, net flows of 459 billion as of June 30 so far. So that was exceeding the 366 and 283 for 2020 and 2019 respectively. So we can see a chart here. There's more information about what global investor inflows have been, as well as the assets that we've got here. So ETF assets are definitely at new heights, nearly at $10 trillion. Will we get there by the end of the year? We might. So they talk about it took 15 years here for iShares to reach 1 trillion in assets, 5 more years to hit 2 trillion, and only 2 more years to pass the 3 trillion mark. So, if you look at that kind of pace of growth, it just shows how popular ETFs are. And we'll do some other videos as to why that is with the diversification, the ease of access, and various sorts of reasons why people should definitely look at ETFs. Even if you are a stock picker, you should also look at having ETFs in your portfolio. So let's take a look here what else they've got. So Todd Rosenbluth, head of mutual fund and ETF research, CFRA. A little bit about State Street. We've got State Street ETFs here. They were talking about iShares before, BlackRock and iShares. iShares is the ETF brand. We'll take a look at those. They talk about bond ETFs here. Inflows have clocked in at 112 billion in 2021, compared with 231 for all of 20. Compared with that's probably compared with 231 for all of 2020. So they were doing the 2021, what's the first half versus all of 2020 or 2019. So that's probably a typo there. Or maybe I've read it wrong, who knows? Let's take a look at this chart here. Global ETF flows have nearly surpassed all of 2020. So they've got year to date. So the 6 months year to date for 2021 versus 2020. Look at that. Like it's nearly surpassed. It has surpassed for equities. It's not yet surpassed for bonds. So yeah, this is from the Financial Times. If we take a look, we can go to ETF Tracker. Now I have it as a shortcut. I just type in ETFs and it comes up because yeah, I go to it so often. So this is a tool that I built and website. You've got a few bits of information here. There's other guides online, whether you're on YouTube, Instagram, etc. There's a whole lot of information there, but ETF Tracker is the app. It's free, and I am creating this kind of members page, so you'll have your own kind of account and login. Currently, the members section is going to be for this forum, but I am going to put other apps into the members area still for free, so don't worry about that. This is a free resource. And yeah, as we add more features, we'll look at some more premium type services. But for now, let's take a look at ETF Tracker. Now, I'm in my desktop at the moment, my laptop. It doesn't work on mobile, so we haven't built a mobile app. It's not optimized for that, but we might look at that in future. You can view it just here as is, but I like to actually expand the screen. So if you missed it, you click that expand button, it takes up the full screen here. It is built on Power BI. It's a great tool used for many projects I've worked on, whether it's for finance or non-finance. There's a lot of great things you can do with Power BI. So if you're new to ETF Tracker, there is this side menu. As you hover over each of these items, you can see what is going on for each of them. Right now, we're looking at a dashboard. So each month, when there's new data, and there's new data for June, we have this dashboard looking at what the latest 1 month returns are. That's what the green and red metrics are, as well as what that has been historically over time cumulatively. So we're looking at cumulative performance here. So what it's saying is that equity Australia type ETFs, they did 2.5% in terms of their average returns for the month of June. They are since 2017, when we have the data going back to, they're 43% up since January 2017. And that is done by adding all of the 1 month returns together. So getting that cumulative kind of performance there. So it doesn't say anything about whether you know bought and sold and realized a profit or a loss during that time, but that's for other sorts of apps to be able to do that for you. And we might do that, but just not yet. The other thing you can do is filter it to see net inflows. So this is the amount of money that is going in versus going out. So if it's net positive or negative, we can see here that the latest month for June saw money going out of cash and currency type ETFs, and also more money going out than in to Australian equity ETFs. But in previous months, it has been more going in, and it's been net positive. And you can see here that Equity Australia and Equity Global type ETFs are the ones that receive the most. The others are quite flat. They do have a good amount of money going into them each month, but compared with what equity ETFs are doing, it is a bit of a night and day kind of scenario there. And you can see this as well with the funds under management. So the net inflows contributes to the funds under management, and you can see here that the total as of where we are right now for June, most of the funds under management is with equities, global and Australia. And you can see here that 52.6 billion is in global, 30.6 billion is with Aussie equities. And now what we are going to do was take a look in the app at an area of size. So where's the flows going into? Not just the funds under management, but where is each of the monthly kind of flows? So when we go here, this is viewing it by ETF, and you can see here that we have the rank of flows by ETF. And we've also got this scatter chart, which shows what the flows are versus the average of the 1 month returns. And you've got this bar chart here at the bottom, and this shows what the total flows have been over the last period of time since January 2017. What you can do is you can either interact with the app here. So I can click on MGOC and I can see when it had money going into the market. I can click on VAS and I can see when it had money going in, or there was some periods when money went out of the market for that particular ETF. You can scroll up and down and see some more information there. You can also click on what's going on here on the bubble chart, or if you hover over, whether it's a bar chart showing an ETF, if you hover over it, or if it's one of the dots on the scatter plot, you can see some more information there. So in this case, we're looking at BBUS. You can see a description of that. So it's the beta shares US equities strong bear currency hedged ETF. Bit of a description as well as some metrics about that. But what you can also do is you can click on the filters here and you can choose a period of time. So because we just passed this financial year, most of the work that I've done so far has been on looking at what the last kind of 12 months have been, but the article that we just saw is talking about the first 6 months of this year. Okay, so let's take a look at that first 6 months. Now, even though it does tick July, August, September, whatever, there for 2021, doesn't mean that we have data for that. It is just a calendar that's built in to Power BI, so it just shows you the information there. So if you take a look at that, we can see that for this year, the most inflows in total have been to this Hyperion Global Growth Companies ETF. That's followed by VAS, which is the Vanguard Australian Shares ETF that looks at the S&P 300, the ASX 300, followed by the MSCI International Index, also from Vanguard. So two Vanguard ones there at the top. And then there's another one, the Diversified High Growth Index ETF. If you follow with the Equity Mates Facebook discussion group, VDHG is spoken about quite a lot. And that's followed by Ardea, Active X Real Outcome Bond Fund. That's one of the ETF brands of Fidante. They have quite a few partnerships, and ActiveX is one of them. That's the ETF brand. Qual, that's another one that was spoken about very recently in the ETF kind of discussions that happen on Equity Mates. So make sure you sign up for Equity Mates on Facebook and check out the good quality, pun, discussions there about that. Now, as I said, as you click on each of these, you can see the bar charts change. Now, I know you only got one dot there, but you can also flip it around and go, okay, well, look, what we're seeing here, something that is lower and to the right, it's saying that it's had really high 1 month returns. It hasn't had as much inflows. It's sitting around the middle of the pack here in terms of this Y axis, but it is the one that's had the most average, the highest average 1 month returns. What was that like in June? So if we click on June, we can see that this is what the 1 month returns were versus inflows just for June. Okay, we can go back to January. Take a look at January. We can see that Asia had the highest in terms of 1 month returns in January, which is what we've highlighted, and it was one of the highest in terms of inflows as well. So very interactive. And the final thing that you want to do, just say that, for example, this chart here is maybe too small for you to look at in just the space that we put it in. Screen real estate, we have to balance out what fits on a page. You can do this. You can click on that expand button. I'll go back again. So as you hover over it, you can do it for any of the charts. As you hover over it, you click expand and you can see some further information about that. And as you hover over each of these dots, you can see more details. So let's say, for example, you didn't know what LNAS is, and then you hover over it and you read it and you go, okay, well, that's a exchange traded mutual fund that aims to provide investors with geared returns, so leveraged returns. So they're good on the way up, but a bit bad on the way down. So make sure you read up about that. If you want more information about that particular ETF, you want to right click. Okay, go to the drill through. There is a page called individual that we built for these ETFs, and now you can see here some further information about that. Okay, there's a description, some high level metrics. Because we filtered for just 2021, you can see that the filter here is just showing 2021. So, yep, that's it for now. So that's the article here. The ETF industry on track for record years. Investor inflows reach 659 billion. We're taking a look at that with ETF Tracker. So if we take a look here, funds inflow for 2021, which is the period that we have highlighted here. Apologies, we'll just move that. It's been 10 billion for Australia. So 659 for the globe. Australia is 10. So we're still, small, but we are a growing part of the ETF universe. So definitely check out the article, check out ETF Tracker. And if you guys are interested in more details, let me know. And yeah, definitely join the community. Okay, cheers.